Flexible working. On the 30th of June 2014, the flexible working system in England, Wales and Scotland changed, and most of the eligibility criteria were removed. The criterion that has remained the same is the 26-week service and not to have made a request in the previous 12 months. Other than that, anyone can make a claim for whatever reason to work flexible hours. What we have to remember is that there are many different ways of working that can suit the businesses and employees' needs. As an employer, it's always a good idea to know what the process is so that you do get it right. So let's take a look in this segment as to what that is. Making a request. The employee must apply in writing and describe the potential effect the changes will have and how these can be overcome. They will now also have to advise if they are making the request in relation to the duty to make reasonable adjustments under Equality Act and disability discrimination provisions. Handling a request. Employers must deal with a request in a reasonable manner, within a reasonable timescale. The statutory code of practice and the accompanying guidance gives indications as to what is considered reasonable. Considering the request. The employer should weigh up the benefits of the requested changes in working conditions for both the business and employee. The reasons for refusal will be exactly the same as before the regime changed. The employee should be informed of the outcome in due course. There will be no 14-day time limit, but a 3-month overall deadline. With the new changes, there is no absolute right to have the outcome conveyed in writing, but for purposes of a good paper trail, it is recommended that this should happen. Right to be accompanied. There will no longer be a statutory right to be accompanied to a meeting to discuss a flexible working request. Failure to allow a companion will not of itself render an employer liable to a tribunal claim, as it did under the old regime. However, the code states that is good practice, particularly if the employee lacks confidence, for example, a young worker, or where English is not their first language. Appeal process. There is no obligation on an employer to permit an appeal process. Nevertheless, the code says that an employer should allow an appeal because it is an opportunity for new information to be put forward or to put right an earlier procedural shortcoming. Competing requests. As the pool of eligible employees has widened, there is more opportunity for employers to receive conflicting requests. Requests should be dealt with on a first-come, first-served basis. If you are faced with conflicting requests, then prioritise those where refusal could lead to a discrimination claim. And remember to always take into account other relevant factors.